Science is deeply political. It shapes the research that gets funded, the policies that are enforced, who conducts the studies, and whose voices are heard in society. Without science, people risk being invisible, left vulnerable to health disparities, misdiagnosis, inadequate treatment, and systemic inequality. For too long, science and mental health fields have ignored or misrepresented the lived experiences of women, BIPOC, and LGBTQ+ communities. Iatrogenic refers to any condition, illness, or harm that is caused by medical treatment, diagnosis, or intervention. Psychological harm caused by a therapist dismissing a patient's anomalous experiences as delusions could be considered iatrogenic trauma.
A lot of spiritual people who have experienced spiritual psychosis do not get healing from medical professionals because they don't have the tools necessary to actually help them deal with what's going on. A lot of people who experience spiritual psychosis are also actually experiencing something that's known as parapsychological phenomena. Like, I can tune into people's inner worlds like that. I can tune into your loved ones. I can do that. It wasn't always this stable. In the beginning, it was actually much more chaotic. I learned to not talk about this to medical professionals because I knew for a fact that they were going to label me as mentally ill. And then I eventually found a therapist who actually did listen to me. And while she could not help me navigate this experience, she was able to facilitate a healthy space so that I could navigate it in a safe space.
According to surveys from the American Center of Integration of Spiritually Transformative Experiences, spiritual transformative experience means an experience is spiritually transformative when it causes people to perceive themselves and the world profoundly differently.
Good morning, Peter Gertz here. I'm a psychiatrist. So how do you differentiate if someone is hearing voices? Is that psychotic, psychic, spiritual? What is the way to tease that out and try and make sure you do not give someone an antipsychotic who does not need one, and to also, on the other hand, make sure you give someone an antipsychotic who does need one? So this can be a little bit of a dilemma. In order to have any kind of mental illness, you need, basically any mental illness, you need impairment in functioning. So social, occupational, other important areas of functioning. If someone does not have impairment in functioning, they don't have mental illness in general. So if someone is hearing voices every day, but they're the CEO of a company, they're doing well physically, they have a good family, they're enjoying their social life, there's no mental illness. And so you want to take something seriously that needs to be taken seriously, but you also want to be relaxed enough to let people have spiritual experiences, have experiences of hearing voices, and not necessarily be disturbed by them. So the key, as usual, as often, is keeping an open mind and treating each patient individually and specifically looking at each individual situation.
When experiences were asked the following adjectives that describe how they felt after sharing their STE with a professional, the results were as followed. 25% felt ridiculed, 23% felt pathologized, 18% felt demoralized, 12% felt unbalanced, 10% felt anxious, 10% felt suicidal, 8% felt they received an inaccurate diagnosis, 44% felt unsupported. Experiencers were asked, if you were considering seeking professional support for your spiritually transformative experience, do you have any hopes or concerns? 36% had concerns related to training and competency. 17% had concerns for pathologizing and dismissal of their spiritual transformative experience.